Hello, silly gooses, silly geese, people, whatever. So I got a couple requests to do a disassembly on this, and I was planning on doing one anyway, just because I was talking to Super Steel Steve about this very knife, and he was saying he had two of the new M.Striders come through. One was his, one was Kenny from In the Pocket. I'll put their channels in the description. But he said that the lock bar was not carbidized. I checked, I believe mine is. I'm almost positive. If it isn't, I'm not sure what is stuck to my lock bar. But, so real quick, there's the knife. Gotta get my tools. Let's see here. So what I do, how do I want to do this? So, real quick, one of the questions I got was what pivot tool do I use for the Strider? I use this Park tool, CNW2. I am planning on getting a actual Strider pivot tool. I really want to wait until these are more affordable on the secondary market. At the time of this video, actually not too long ago, you were seeing some of these M.Striders go for $600, $700, $800. I actually got an offer for $850 for this very knife. So it's kind of like the Hinderer craze that was going on a couple years ago. So I just want to wait for the secondary market price to go back down, if it ever will, because I believe Strider is keeping the supply low, which, it is what it is. Alright, so here's what I do. So what we're gonna need, if I can get it out, there we go. So the Strider pivot is free spinning. It's unfortunate, but that's how the cookie crumbles. So you can see I did have to machine this a little bit, hit it with a Dremel actually, and I'll show you what the other side looks like in a second. And then it conveniently fits in the pivot like this, and now you just unscrew it. So you can see the pivot is quite beefy. Big beefy pivot. Let's see here. Oh, no, it doesn't fit. Need the next one down. I actually like this Weehaw set. They're only about $15, so really not too much to complain about. Sorry I'm kind of doing this off camera. I've never done a disassembly on my channel. So I do apologize for the crude disassembly, I'll call it. The screws on this knife are quite nice, I have to say. Just lifts up. Super clean. I actually just took this apart. Kind of feel dumb just because I mean I had the knife apart yesterday, believe it or not. So real quick, just wanted to show you the blade. Super nice blade on these guys. Tie lock scale, and there is the aluminum show scale. Very nicely done on this. Super nice. That anodized job is good too. Yeah, everything looks how it should. Get some tape on the blade, Yeah, right there. Whatever. So let's look at this lock bar. So, for those of you that don't know, that little grittiness, and sorry my hands are dirty, right there, not where that corner is, where my nail's touching, but right there, it's right here. That is a carbonized lock face. Now, whew, let's talk about this. This is something I was thinking about. How do I even go about addressing this? So, Strider's lockup is a little bit different than companies like Chris Reeve and Hinderer. They're really kind of crude when it comes to how they do frame locks. So, let's see. I actually drew it out. So, here's a Sabenza. So you can see it locks up super late, and it makes a ton of contact. The way the Strider does it, just that tiny corner makes contact when the knife is new. Mine isn't new, so it has worn down a bit, even though the lock is carbonized, but it's just worn down right here. So just that very tiny front part is making contact, and it's only making contact with the very edge of, sorry about, it's not focusing. So it's only making contact with a very small amount of this lock bar. Now, are there advantages to that? So here's what I got, and this is really pushing it. So, say this blade were to encounter a negative force, which would be, of course, applied to the spine. Could this possibly act like a crumple zone? So the blade, you know, takes that blow and folds in on this. The lock probably wouldn't slip, rather it would dent in. Actually, another interesting thing is that lock rock doesn't necessarily mean a lock is weak. Lock rock just means that there's a fitment issue. So really, it's not, I mean, it's kind of like the causation versus correlation and causation. Just because there's a correlation between locks that have lock rock being not so good and, you know, failure, doesn't mean that all knives with lock rock are, you know, not secure. So it's very possible, and I know a lot of people have, you know, sworn up and down that Striders, even when they have lock rock, are still solid. And some people, you know, might just be talking out of their ass. Some people, I truly do believe, have had experience where they've tested the knives. I mean, there's countless videos of, God, that was loud. I wonder if it was as loud for you as it was for me. It actually kind of startled me. But yeah, I've seen a ton of videos of guys just beating the shit out of Striders and stuff like that, and the lock's not failing. It's kind of a case-by-case basis. I mean, every lock is going to be a little bit different. But I thought I'd just kind of talk about that. I also have a diagram of how, like, the, well, no, that one's kind of irrelevant at this point. So, yeah, I mean, you guys can see this lock is only making contact with a very small amount of the lock face. Actually, it's only basically, here we go. Sorry. So it's basically just touching right here. Right in this area. So that's the only point of contact. A Sabenza makes full contact. So you can see with the marring on the tang, it's making full contact. Focus. And fit perfectly. No play at all. Strider has no play, but I just wanted to show Steve that this is carbonized. If that's not carbonized, then I must not know what it is. But yeah, so time to get this guy back together. So, best way I've found to do it. You want to put this guy through here, lay it flat. Then you take your big washer, and if you forget which side it goes on, just look at the knife. So the side with wear. And Striders do like to run dry, at least this one does. Anytime I put any sort of like KPL, nano oil, it's always not a good time. Alright. So here's what I do. Attach the pivot. We'll use the Husky. And doing this in front of the camera is actually quite difficult. And I apologize for the bad angles, but that's how it's gotta be. I'm sure you can understand. Alright, so there we go. So actually, if that small washer on on this side, on the lock side, is not lined up correctly, the knife will not close up. I had that experience the first time I tried making this video, and it was, trust me, fucking annoying. So, not doing that anymore. Alright, now we can put the handle screws in. So, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I like to put them in not super tight at first. So just enough to keep the handle together. Oh yeah, I forgot. There we go. And then, by the way, what the fuck is up with that lanyard? Oh, I'll never understand. But, yeah, so, there we go. Yeah, good to go. So we didn't even need the tool to put it back together. That feels good. Kind of drop shut. I may have put the washer in wrong. Not wrong, but just not the way it was before. So it's gonna have to break in a little bit again. But no stick. Well, some stick. Let's see if we can get that out. That's another thing. If Strider were to improve their geometry, they would actually have less lock stick. Rock solid. Feels like a tank. Not a fixed blade, but feels solid. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I know, kind of a maybe not the best done video. I've never done a disassembly on this channel successfully, so I do apologize for that. But I just wanted to talk about, you know, the tool I use. If I didn't mention it already, Part Tool CNW2. $5 on Amazon. I recommend getting two because I fucked up my first one. And then the second one did perfectly. So yeah, that's about it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.